I think the mirror is a very apt thought for the three of these. For this trilogy for sure. I think, and we've only recently begun to talk about the mirror, the video in the mirror. But it is a really important trope in video, and it's something which is, I think, unique to video. Like it is our best mirroring device that I can think of. It's both instant and it's recorded.
We called it the piece of Becoming, and we're very influenced by some reading we were doing at the time from Deleuze, and most of the cities that the four that we've examined in this project, Vancouver, Berlin, Montreal, and Toronto, they're just it's a constant movement of capital, of people, of ideas, of exchange, where speculation and failure. And failure is very important, like it seems like to this project. Failure, I think, is important to all of our projects in a way lately. I think that the potential for failure is very important for us, because we, in the last, I would say, 10 years of our work, we have declined to produce answers. And we'll only ask questions now. But we had a lot of answers when we were younger and all that. And
so much less declarative.
Yeah, we're much more. Yeah, we much more really actually want to look at what's going on, or record what's going on, or witness what's going on, whether it's our own bodies or the built environment or this or that. What we did was go in and see the juxtaposition. My favorite shot in Vancouver is the one, it's at the back actually, and there are 3 porches of those kind of with the wooden stairways up to the back, and you can see them, and there's some laundry hung out the back, and there's that one of the humongous green glass Olympia, New York tower there, and the back of it, but they're right like this, and it's like the Old West meets Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Like it's like crazy. It's crazy. And that shot, I think, made for us we knew what we were looking for. We knew that there was something going on. And there's a bunch of other little pieces in it that are like that. But that one is the one where you think, and also the other thing that we always say too is that what people were doing a lot of in this era, and it's still going on, are speculative fantasy landscapes and cityscapes. So they make a bunch of stuff up and they put a bunch of stuff where it doesn't belong, but it looks right, and so that you're kind of building this constructed fantasy environment. And we're very, very clear in everything we've always said about this piece. There's nothing manipulated.
You mean in the art world, making up?
Yes, the art world, not the... Yeah.
Right, like
so that's
constructed
very big,
imagery.
That's a big part of what...
And we're not doing that.
No.
We're just
reporting.
What can fit in the frame is
Yeah.
what we're interested in.
So that mirror, I think, is actually there to actually hold that mirror up and see,
I think we are in profoundly conservative times, and anything that rubs up against that has a political
But I think
critique.
that dualism of that, or that old new whatever, was the juxtaposition of these political slogans, which are out. They're from the past. All of them are from the past.
And the question is, are they emptied?
Yeah.
Have they been emptied of their? Is the this is not one of our slogans, but would it be empty to say that we would like to have equality among humans? Mm-hmm. But is that idea empty now? So I think that's not one of them. But can these things still have resonance? And we place them in these environments. So the slogans have their own meaning. Can they be interesting to look at? Can they be pretty? And can they have political resonance? Can they have any meaning? They're not just small in size, but they are they're not giant ideas. They're very contained ideas, very
Free
modest,
speech,
modest ideas.
make love not war. I think we're working on a new one
Yeah, I think we're going to make it.
on
sure.
torture.
And it's something we abhor as a
Yeah, we
humans.
claim we
hate
do.
the idea, the concept of torture. We've outlawed it.
Yeah.
We're very clear
Yeah.
on it, and yet we are fully engaged with
Yeah.
it.
You know, every June in every newspaper in North America, you've got those interviews with the 6 top graduates. And what are they going to do? And they're going to cure malaria in Africa. They're going to, you know, bring women's health issues to the top of the UN. They're going to do this. They're going to do that.
Break through the glass ceiling.
Yeah, they're going to, like, they get these people and they find them every year, and they're, you know, they're in our newspapers, and there they are in front of us. And we thought, you know, geez, nobody ever asks them like what they're afraid of. And that was the whole heart and soul of our piece, because we had kind of gone through that because you go through it with a kid, and you're kind of raising a kid, and the kid is, what are they going to do? And oh my God, they're going to go off and do whatever, but they go off and have their hearts broken and their spirits tamped on, and they're afraid of this, and yet they go on, they survive, mostly.
We've created this framework to try and get them into this place, and also we hope we've made it an extremely safe place for them to be honest, give us answers to these questions, and allow us to kind of treat them like the mature, fully conscious beings that they actually are.
What was same, unique, different from the Vancouver shoot?
Very different.
I think it's a very special school.
Yeah, 90% of them said where they were going on to. That it's the imperative for them to succeed was, and to further their education was so strong. Like they were all BCIT, or somebody wanted to go and get their MA in this. Somebody's going into nursing, and we didn't hear that from the kids in France at all, or the kids in Germany, for that matter. Much more kind of secure safety net kind of things around them, and from the Toronto kids, they were, what were they looking forward to? They were finishing, hoping at graduating, hoping, and what were they afraid
like
of?
a very immediate
thing. Just like that next day.
Right.
And only one person in this one said, and she said it kind of as a joke, I've only got 3 weeks to go. I'm like, that's what I'm looking forward to, is the end of that. But everybody else is like, I'm looking forward to this. And, what's next? I'm going to do this.
Like practical.
Practical, but also so. They were carrying something with them, not a burden, but a responsibility that I didn't see in almost any of the other kids.
Didn't you guys do a work in bed?
That's true. It was a bed on the floor.
It was on the floor.
It was a performance for the camera.
Yes.
So, sex for the camera, and then it was performed with the video recording, and we did the text part live in the audience.
It was our first collaboration.
Mm.
It was about sexual representation and the representation of sexuality itself and sexual speech, and how that was, where that was at in this time frame.
That was your first collaboration as a proclamation of your sexuality and heterosexual couple, which was very revealing and intimate and public, which 30 years later, approximately, you were going to be presenting your trilogy. I've read the transcripts.
Good.
I've read what you sent me. It was quite emotional reading it, quite chilling, and quite enticing. How did you guys decide to do this?
So maybe we should just review, even, and of course we learn from this kind of question about each other's motives too, right? Because some things are spoken and some things are intuited. So I mean, we really do discuss projects as much as we can, but then we do things too. We just do, and we go, well, let's see how it's going to work. I mean, the hypnotic aspect or the trance aspect of it was really a hunch. We were hoping it would work. But to just go back a bit, about 10 years or so, we made the first piece called We're Getting Younger All the Time, which is kind of like the idea that through, like, the idea of representation, like if we could represent ourselves as being young or old or digitally corrected or digitally changed or thinner or bigger, or, you know, I mean, there's so many ways to kind of manipulate oneself now and one's self-representation. So we set out to do a project where we actually sort of would age in front of the camera, and in an attempt to kind of address the questions of what would it be like to find the fountain of youth, like the idea of going back in time. In 3 minutes, we get younger by 12 hours,
Yeah.
and you get older by
Yeah.
3 minutes or whatever. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a
So it's a sort of a,
revenge on the audience,
Yeah.
in a sense. How did we record Getting Younger All the Time? Yeah. We watched the camera,
oh yeah.
and we put
That's
a
interesting, actually.
clock on top of it.
Every hour was quite different. It was phenomenological, it wasn't psychological. When we did Getting Younger, we were dealing really with, well, we always say, you know, it's kind of like we started out talking about the difference between analog and digital, and between film and video, and would film preserve an image longer and more romantically and more, you know, so it just fades away, whereas the digital, it drops off. And that was our first digital project, I guess, fully digital. What people are struck with in that piece is how different our metabolisms are, how different our bodies are. And we've always thought of ourselves as, you know, sort of, you know, we're androgynous, we kind of look a little bit like, we have the same coloring, we're, you know, like, so sort of, you know, whatever, blah, 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 you know, we're not that different.
We're not big,
and,
we're not small.
We're sort of average, everything. And the Getting Younger All the Time, the heightened, because of its speeded up and the backwardsness and all that, it heightens this incredible difference, which we had never experienced.
The second part, called Practicing Death, which is a meditation on that kind of moment that everybody experiences if they're sleeping beside someone, and that someone, all of a sudden, there's no noise, there's nothing, there's just complete dead silence, and are they breathing, are they not breathing? If you poke them and you wake them, they're going to be annoyed at you, but if you don't, you'll never know. It's just that kind of suspension of not knowing what's going on with that silence all of a sudden.
It's a practice for that when we sleep we are practicing death.
All the time,
Yeah.
thinking about the third part of it, which evaded us for 8 years or so.
And this whole thing, we said, oh, it's a meditation on middle age, because we were sort of middle aged then, and now we're old. But so then we tried, and we tried for years to find something.
Part 3 is the is the result of really putting our heads together, banging our heads together.
Yeah.
In this case, normally projects don't come this difficult for us, but this is a difficult project, and it's a bit of a
It's very personal. It's very, but again, it was body centered, and we couldn't figure out. We tried a bunch of visual things, you know, like visualizations of this, and all of them
like
felt very
absence,
false.
you know, the idea.
Like, how do you portray absence? Yeah.
Right.
How do you? Yeah. How do you show nothingness? How do you show? You know. Anyway, it was very unsatisfying and very wrong. Everything we were doing was wrong. We produced a lot of visual beauty, and absolutely false.
You know.
And in the winter of 2003, like in December, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and then went into treatment for the next year, and I don't know, practicing death, it seemed funny. I never thought, I never had a health situation where it seemed like I was dying. But it's a bit, you know, like you think. It's cause for pause, for sure. But I was never seriously ill in any way, except treatment makes you feel bad. But we wondered, afterward?
Yeah,
If
because-
you like, what do you know? Like, what does the body know?
After we'd given up trying to just do it ourselves, I'm pretty sure you suggested that we would need help. We would need somebody to help us get to where we're going. So I joke that I was hoping it would be party drugs, but Lisa suggested a hypnotist.
To go to some place inside yourself that's actually there, and to uncover thoughts, feelings, emotions that you can't contact in a regular base, like in a regular day-to-day life. So that seemed right to us. But we also made a pact that we would look at them afterward individually, and if there was anything in them that we didn't want the other person to know about, like, I mean, I don't know, I suppose we thought, like, maybe, like, you go through the door and, Kim's no longer there, and says, woohoo, great, yeah, whoa, I'm free, whoa, the old ball and chain gone. But that didn't happen, that we were...
No, we did look at them first.
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
But it took a year.
Yeah, we couldn't look at, they
when
sat
did you
on the
record
shelf.
session?
2009, no, 2010,
2010, yeah.
and we didn't look at them until 2011.
And they were right there, like
Yeah.
right on the shelf.
Yeah, they were DV tapes.
2 words, Lisa. Kim.
Yeah,
And we just couldn't. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't that it was scary or anything. It wasn't scary. It was actually very calm and well, it wasn't entirely calm, but it wasn't scary. It was just deeply emotional. And after the session,
we were tired.
He said, "You'll be tired.
Yeah.
You'll be exhausted." So we went to bed at 9 o'clock for the next few days. Like, it was really, which
We sort of tried to talk about it a little bit, and we sort of remembered a lot of it, but not all of it.
Oh,
Because
now that the transcripts are done,
yeah, there's a
stuff,
lot.
whole passages I can't remember at all.
Yeah.
Discussing at all.
It was the physical, the vision of where I had been, which was, if you've read the transcripts, I went downstairs rather than to go through a doorway. I was in some other place, like I was in a sort of a dungeon somewhere. It was a very frightening place, and I really had a hard time getting myself out of that. And at the end I say, I want to get out. I got to come out. And he brought me out. But that was really, I don't know how but that is where I went to, and I was very distraught too. I was really, in the tape, I'm really crying. I'm just crying and crying and crying. I didn't feel special at all. It just felt like really real. I didn't feel anything. I just felt like, what does they say? I'd say, well, like if you've, if you've had happiness, you'll never find it again. That's the problem with the project. So that's the problem, is to go there. So, anyway.
There's something about the oral delivery of it and his, amazingly instructive, his counting and his dialogue. I was right back there, and I thought, I hated this the first time.
Here we are again.
Now I'm hating it again, but
Yeah.
but not hating. Just doing going to emotional places that you really don't want to be. So we did that. We listened and watched them, and got over that. And the transcription didn't happen for a while later.
For a few months, because it was
after that. So we put those away. We had to take some time. It wasn't so hard to look at Lisa's for some reason, but it was hard to look at mine. Again, you're just drawn back into that moment, and there's nothing to look at. Like there's just some words, but it represents this emotional pit.
This experience for Kim was so, it was so real. Like you're in our house, in our bed, sitting on our bed, wanting to go outside, not hearing any bird, like everything was right there, going back and seeing our cat. Like it was so real. And me, I was like, you know, I mean, I was floating, I was out of my body, I had to bring me back to my body, I couldn't, I'm going, zeroing down, I'm seeing all this stuff and it's awful and, you know, it's weird. So anyway, you know, the trilogy I think is that it has always been a reflection on the collaboration, whether it was 20 or now 30 years. It may seem like it's all over the map, but it's not all over the map. It's, you know, there's very unifying ideas of what we're looking at, representations and, you know, words and the way in which, you know, language defined is a defining part of us, defining part of the human condition. And I think that it's very clear in our work, the position of language, both written and spoken. Again, as we said, you know, the last decade plus of work for us, you know, our 21st century work, as you put it, which I really love, is a process of very time-consuming activities. And for us, this is like, it all makes sense. We're always working on the same things, just using different strategies somehow. You know, what does it mean to be alive? How do you know you're alive? How do you know your existence is actually there? What are you looking at? How is the body politic integrated into the, you know, the social body? Like, how are those things? Mm-hmm. That's just been always our whole project, with just different ways of seeing it.